Today we're going to go over the 5 best gold flips that you can do right now. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. So obviously today we're going to be going over the 5 best gold flips. These are ones that you can do pretty much each and every day as a nice restocking method, as also as making some healthy profit in the long run. Aside from all of that, let's get into number 1, which is the Frozen Orb flip. Now this one is commonly used in order to get Eternals. Now this is by going over towards Dalaran. This is the Northrend Dalaran, Arcanist Ivreene. Now she is located at 37.01 to 55.11. Now that being said, she is the person that you're going to be getting the Frozen Orbs from. Once you're over at this vendor, all you have to do is buy out Frozen Orbs. Now, what you're going to be wanting to do is actually double check how much these Eternals are actually worth. Helpfully enough, this is where the auction house is as well. So if you click to the right to the NPC, you'll be able to go onto the auction house and then double check your Eternals. What you're going to want to do is buy the Frozen Orbs for less than some of the Eternals. Some of these of note are Eternal Fire and Eternal Shadow. You buy out a bunch of these Frozen Orbs and head over to the vendor. You'll be able to see this on the screen right now. Once you actually do this, you go over to the Frozen Orb vendor and you trade those Frozen Orbs in for those respective Eternals. Then you sell those on the auction house for a tasty profit. This is something I've done in the past and do in the future, and I intend to do moving forward as well. This is a very easy flip, but try to not oversaturate the market, as this is something that can actually drop quite considerably if you overstock the auction house. I primarily go with 100 at a time and just see how it goes, and then just restock every now and then when I run out of Eternals. Other than that, this is a very easy flip in order to do, and I highly recommend it. Moving into number 2, we have milling. Now milling is a very good way in order to make some decent gold, and this is by milling different types of herbs from different types of expansions, other types of pigments, and then turning those into their respective inks. Some mills that are of note are Dreamleaf for Roseate and Sallow pigments respectively, as well as Death Blossom for Umbral pigment, and also Luminous pigment. You get some Tranquil pigments, but that's not what you're milling Death Blossom for. But if you wanted to get hold of Tranquil pigments, then you would want to mill Nightshade. Now Nightshade gives you predominantly the most Tranquil pigments, and this is something you will want to do. If you are wanting to check an average on what you would actually get to see if you can actually pull in a profit, you can also go into WorthIt, which has those right there for you. All you have to do is go into flipping and then go into milling, and it should be up for you right now. An update has gone live on that, updating all of the different types of flips and also millings. Which brings us on to number 3, which is the Ink Trader. Now the Ink Trader is a great way in order to make some gold and also to reduce the cost of glyphs for scribes. Typically what you're going to be wanting to do is by getting a hold of Umbral ink and then trading that in for any of the other respective inks. These all have different types of costs. Some of them, the majority of them are for a 1-to-1 ratio, but the others tend to go for a 10-to-1 depending on the different type of ink. Basically, if it's a more rare ink, then you're going to have to pay 10, but if it's most common, then you can. The one that I typically use this actual trader for is the Sallow pigment, as that is at a 1-to-1 ratio. What I like to do is I like to get a hold of some Umbral ink and then trade that in for Sallow pigment in order to sell on the auction house, or I use that for my crafts. This quite rightly actually reduces the cost of also my glyphs as well, and I find this to be a great way. Some different types of inks that are not included with the Ink Trader, the Tranquil ink, as well as Luminous and Umbral, because obviously you're going to be using that. So basically the Shadowlands ones are not included within the Ink Trader, so bear that one in mind. Along with this is a quite easy way in order to flip some actual inks and use that to actually make some nice gold. I would highly go for ones that sell for a lot faster than buying the ones that are high priced but at very low sell rates, as they'll take quite a long time in order to sell and get your money back, unless you are willing to play the waiting game. Now, coming into number 4, and at no surprise, is Disenchanting. Now, Disenchanting is fairly easy, especially when it's paired with tailoring. This is something that you can do, and at the moment is actually very profitable in game. What you're going to be wanting to do is craft braces and then disenchant them for their dust. And this is a good way in order to get a hold of different types of mats, specifically Shadowlands. For Shadowlands, you're going to be wanting to craft shrouded cloth braces and disenchanting them for soul dust. If you are not wanting to do Shadowlands stuff and want to get into a lower based market, then I would highly recommend doing frostweave braces for infinite dust, as infinite dust sells relatively fast and it is super cheap in order to actually craft as well and then sell on the auction house. Failing that, if you want to also check this is also within WorthIt's module for flipping under Disenchanting. I find that this is a very easy way in order to make some gold by just standing in a capital city and not doing an awful much. So you can sit down and watch something while you're actually doing this, as you'll be doing quite a lot of crafting and then disenchanting. Quite rightfully, you can also use TSM destroying and also make up a macro in order to disenchant this as well. Failing that, I would highly recommend using the add-on disenchant crafted items, as this makes this completely a lot more easier for you to actually do, as it provides you with a little button next to your craft in tailoring for that disenchanting of that item. Aside from all of that, guys, that is pretty much everything for disenchanting. So let's just jump on to number 5, which is the Spirit of Harmony vendor flip. Now, I covered this at the beginning of my entire channel, and I love to talk about this one quite a bit. Now, obviously this is quite an old flip, but I'd like to reiterate it as of now, because obviously it's been like 4 years since I actually started talking about it, and I used to talk about it to get a hold of Golden Lotus for cheap and then making Potions of Luck. What you're going to be wanting to do now for this Spirit of Harmony vendor flip, as the Potion of Luck is negated and it's just a grey item that's only used for your potion mastery, you'll be wanting to do the same thing as with the Frozen Orb. You'll be wanting to buy Spirits of Harmony and then trading those in for different types of materials which equal with more gold. The ones that actually do perform the best is by trading in Spirits of Harmony for white Trillium ore, as well as black Trillium ore, and also Magnificent Hide. Those ones seem to be the fastest of the selling of those different types of materials, and I tend to find that getting these Spirits of Harmony and then trading them in is a good way to get some steady gold coming in each and every day. Aside from all of that, guys, that is pretty much everything I have to actually say for today's video. This is the 5 best gold flips that you can do right now, and they really just take a little bit of time in order to do. It's not even that much of a hassle in order to keep upstocked with all of that stuff, and you can pull in some reasonably good gold overall. Aside from all of that, guys, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon. If you want to support the channel and help make the channel even better, then why not check out the Patreon? Members get additional info, gold making resources, and Patreon specific content. The link is located in the description down below. Thank you and have an awesome day.